You know that feeling when family dinner, Sunday 5 p.m., pops up on your calendar and your stomach immediately drops? Yeah, that feeling. Turns out there's actual science behind why some of us would rather wrestle a bear than sit through Thanksgiving dinner. And no, you're not broken. You're just wired differently. Look, I love my family, but if I have to hear Uncle Derek explain why birds are government drones one more time, I might fake my own death. And psychology says, that reaction is surprisingly normal. Today, we're breaking down why family gatherings feel emotionally exhausting for some people, and why it has way less to do with being antisocial than everyone thinks. First, let's clear up the biggest myth: introversion. People love to say, "Oh, you're just an introvert. You need to recharge." That's only part of the story. Research shows introverts can actually be very social with the right people. The real issue isn't socializing. It's obligatory socialization. When you're forced to be somewhere, your brain reacts differently. You didn't choose this, and your nervous system knows it. That lack of choice triggers the same stress response as being stuck in an elevator with someone who won't stop talking. So no, it's not your social battery dying, it's your autonomy being violated. Now let's talk about something even weirder. Ever notice how you can be a fully grown adult, successful, independent, when the second you walk into your childhood home, you suddenly feel like you're 14 again? That's not imagination, that's family systems theory. Families assign roles early on: the responsible one, the problem child, the peacemaker, the black sheep, and when you show up to a family gathering, your brain doesn't see present day you. It sees the version of you it learned decades ago. Those neural pathways are deep. They were formed while your brain was still developing. So when your dad makes that one comment, your brain time travels straight back to every old argument, insecurity, and power struggle. You don't choose the regression. Your brain does it automatically. Next up, masking. And no, this isn't just a neurodivergent thing, though it hits harder if you have ADHD, autism, or anxiety. Masking is emotional labor. You're laughing at jokes that aren't funny, avoiding topics to keep the peace, pretending to care about your cousin's crypto strategy. And if you've ever left a family gathering exhausted, even though you barely moved, that's why. Your self-control system has been running non-stop. You're managing everyone's emotions while suppressing your own. It's like running a PR campaign for yourself while playing emotional chess with people who don't follow the rules. And family makes it worse because they knew you before the mask. Somewhere deep down, part of you's afraid they'll see through it again. Then there's comparison. Family gatherings are basically comparison conventions. How's work? Seeing anyone special? You look different. Psychologist Leon Festiner called this social comparison theory. And here's the wild part. Studies show that feeling like you're falling behind activates the same brain regions as physical pain. Your brain processes, "My cousin bought a house and I can't afford groceries," the same way it processes stubbing your toe, except toe pain fades. Comparison sticks around. Now let's talk boundaries. In your normal life, you probably have them, but family treats boundaries like suggestions. Personal questions aren't invasive, they're concern. Your choices aren't personal, they're family business. But boundary violations trigger stress because they threaten one of our most basic psychological needs: control. When your autonomy disappears, your brain reads it as danger. It doesn't matter that it's your mom asking about your dating life. Your nervous system only knows one thing: something isn't safe. So what do you do with all this? First, stop shaming yourself. Dreading family gatherings doesn't make you cold or ungrateful. It makes you human. Second, get strategic: shorter visits, planned exits, hotels instead of staying over, a friend emergency on standby. That's not avoidance, that's self-preservation. And finally, remember this: you don't owe anyone unlimited access to your mental health, not even family, especially not family. Maybe you show up less. Maybe you redefine what family time looks like. Maybe it's coffee with one cousin instead of the whole circus. But whatever you choose, do it consciously, not true. Not out of guilt, obligation, or fear. Because the people who truly love you will understand. And the ones who don't? They might be the reason this video exists. You're not broken. You're not weird. You're just done pretending that blood automatically means comfort. And honestly, that's pretty healthy.